I have made a very conscious effort to not discuss Taylor and Travis on this podcast.
A surprising stat or fact about how rarely Kylie Kelce comments publicly compared to other NFL wags, despite being in the spotlight engagement. And the reason is more layered than anyone expected. Why has Kylie Kelce stayed so noticeably quiet during the media storm surrounding Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift's engagement? For weeks, every corner of social media has been buzzing. Yet Kylie, someone who is always orbiting the spotlight thanks to her marriage to Jason Kelce, has barely said a word. In the age of endless hot takes, her silence has become louder than any comment she could make. Fans are left wondering whether this quiet is a sign of discomfort, disinterest, or something far more calculated. Most NFL spouses find themselves pulled into the whirlwind, photographed, interviewed, and analyzed endlessly. Kylie, however, has managed to sidestep that pattern. She makes appearances when it feels right, but otherwise retreats into the background, letting others soak up the attention. This is especially striking when you consider how massive the Kelce brand has become in the last year. Every relative, every friend, every former teammate seems to have been asked for a comment. Yet Kylie has resisted, standing apart, and her silence makes her seem more mysterious than ever. Picture a Chiefs game. The stadium is roaring, the cameras sweep across the crowd, and every time Taylor Swift appears on the big screen, the internet goes into overdrive. But what about Kylie, sitting nearby, often with their young daughters? Her presence is rarely amplified in the same way, even though she's part of the family at the center of it all. That visual imbalance, one woman bathed in global celebrity while another slips into the background, creates an odd tension. Kylie's absence in the headlines seems deliberate, and it fuels even more speculation. Kylie once admitted in a podcast interview that her dream life is one rooted in normalcy, where she can walk down the street without constant attention. She loves being a mother and grounding her children in a lifestyle that feels stable, despite the chaos of Jason's NFL career. But now, with Taylor in the picture, normal is nearly impossible. The Kelce family gatherings, public appearances, and even casual dinners have taken on a Hollywood aura. And while Kylie has always been supportive, her decision to remain quiet during all of this feels even more striking. In the modern celebrity cycle, silence often becomes a strategy. Every word, every post, every reaction is dissected endlessly. Kylie's choice not to comment could be her way of holding on to her privacy, her peace, and her boundaries. She knows the second she opens her mouth, even in the most innocent way, her words could be twisted into a narrative she didn't intend. That kind of restraint requires discipline. Instead of being dragged into the headlines, she chooses to remain outside of them. And the longer she stays quiet, the louder the whispers grow. Taylor and Travis's engagement was reported by nearly every media outlet on the planet. Kylie's response, or lack of one, was not. That contrast highlights just how different their roles have become, even though they're both tied to the same family story. On one side, there's the world's most famous pop star, navigating love in the harshest glare of fame. On the other, there's a mother of three, choosing to preserve her space. Both women are making deliberate choices, but those choices could not look more different. A media psychologist recently pointed out that in high-profile families, spouses often cope with fame by either leaning into it or withdrawing completely. The pressure can be enormous, especially when one member of the family suddenly becomes a global fascination. Kylie seems to fall firmly into the second camp. She has not positioned herself as a commentator, an influencer, or a voice in the circus. Instead, she has pulled back. Experts argue this is often less about jealousy and more about survival, because stepping into that spotlight can quickly consume your life. Still, speculation is unavoidable. In fan forums and gossip blogs, debates rage. Is Kylie staying quiet because she's jealous of Taylor's attention, or because she actually admires her ability to handle it? Both interpretations exist, and both have found passionate defenders. On one end, there are those who see Kylie's silence as icy detachment. On the other, fans argue she's simply respecting boundaries and letting her brother-in-law enjoy the limelight. This ambiguity is what keeps the conversation alive, because silence, in the world of celebrity, rarely goes unnoticed. Could Kylie be quietly worrying that all the attention around Travis and Taylor might begin to overshadow Jason Kelce's own celebrated career? Jason is beloved in Philadelphia, respected across the NFL, and even won America's heart through the New Heights podcast. But in the glare of a global pop icon, even a Super Bowl champion risks being reduced to Taylor's brother-in-law. For a woman who has stood firmly beside her husband for years, Kylie may feel protective of his legacy, and that could explain why her silence feels so loaded. Jason Kelce has leaned into the spotlight with humor, self-awareness, and charm. He sings at Super Bowl parades, tells hilarious stories on podcasts, and warmly embraces fan culture. Kylie, however, takes a noticeably different approach. She avoids the spectacle, choosing instead to remain behind the curtain. This contrast between Jason's openness and Kylie's restraint is striking. It suggests a balance within their marriage. One thrives in the spotlight, the other preserves a quieter role. And when you place Taylor Swift at the center of that equation, the contrast becomes impossible to ignore. Imagine Thanksgiving dinner at the Kelce household. Jason cracking jokes, Travis bringing Taylor, the kids running around, and extended family buzzing with excitement. Now imagine Kylie at the same table, navigating conversations, protecting her children's routine, and managing the chaos that comes with fame colliding with family. On the surface, it's just a holiday meal, but beneath it lies a subtle tension. When two worlds, the grounded domestic life Kylie values and the megawatt celebrity of Taylor, collide, there's bound to be a quiet struggle over balance. And that dynamic may never be spoken aloud. Kylie has been open in past interviews about preferring authenticity over glamour. She talked about wanting her daughters to grow up without pressure, in a world where family matters more than fame. Yet, as Taylor becomes more deeply entwined in the Kelce family, Kylie finds herself sharing space with one of the most glamorous women alive. This doesn't mean animosity, it means contrast. A woman who wants her kids' lives to stay normal suddenly finds herself linked, through marriage, to a global superstar whose very existence redefines normal. That clash of values may explain her quietness. In today's celebrity climate, even silence creates its own narrative. Kylie knows that speaking up could spark endless debate, but so could refusing to speak. By not addressing Travis and Taylor's engagement, she's essentially created a blank canvas for the world to project onto. Fans, tabloids, and critics fill that canvas with speculation, each interpreting her silence differently. Some see it as graceful restraint, others as cold detachment. This paradox, where doing nothing still says something, shows how tricky it is to exist in a family caught between sports fandom and pop culture mania. Behind the scenes, Kylie is supportive of Travis and Jason's bond, often attending games and celebrating victories. Yet in front of the cameras, she keeps herself measured, reserved, and nearly invisible compared to the frenzy around Taylor. These dual realities, public invisibility but private loyalty, add to the intrigue. Both facts can exist simultaneously without contradiction. She can be thrilled for her brother-in-law while refusing to join the spectacle. And it's that duality that keeps fans endlessly curious. How can someone so central remain so absent from the narrative? A sports journalist recently noted that Kylie's silence may actually be a form of brand protection. By not entering the conversation, she avoids being swept into the Swiftie wave that engulfs anyone connected to Taylor. Once you're in it, every action, every phrase, even every outfit becomes dissected by millions. Kylie may be deliberately sidestepping that risk. According to this journalist, silence sometimes functions as a shield. The less she says, the less material there is to twist, amplify, or turn against her. It's a subtle but powerful way of staying in control. Some speculate that Kylie's silence could be a setup for something bigger. Perhaps she's waiting for the right moment, when her perspective can be shared on her own terms, through a podcast, a documentary, or even a carefully crafted interview. Others believe she might never comment at all, cementing her role as the family's quiet anchor. Either way, the mystery itself is what keeps fans hooked. Silence can be temporary, or it can be forever. And when someone as visible as Kylie chooses it, every second of that quiet feels like a statement. If Travis and Taylor's relationship evolves into marriage, the Kelces could become what some are already calling the royal family of football. Jason and Kylie would inevitably be pulled into that orbit, whether they like it or not. Family gatherings could turn into public spectacles, and every move could attract scrutiny. For Kylie, who has carefully kept her distance from the spotlight, this scenario raises fascinating questions. Can someone committed to privacy maintain it when the entire family becomes part of a global cultural phenomenon? The future may make that silence harder to sustain. Kylie's refusal to comment directly on Taylor and Travis's engagement continues to stir conversation precisely because it defies expectation. Everyone else seems eager to weigh in: teammates, former players, even distant acquaintances. Yet Kylie stays on the sidelines, leaving a void that others rush to fill. It's not anger, it's not approval, it's not even indifference. It's an unanswered riddle. That riddle fuels speculation on podcasts, headlines, and fan debates. And as long as Kylie holds her ground, the silence itself becomes a story worth following, a quiet thread running through a very loud narrative. Kylie Kelce's silence has become the quiet heartbeat beneath a storm of headlines. While the world dissects every glance between Taylor and Travis, Kylie remains a figure of calm, her voice absent but her presence impossible to ignore. The contrast makes the story richer. A family caught between the everyday and the extraordinary, between football fields and concert stages. And as the engagement cements its place in pop culture history, one question lingers. What happens if that silence finally breaks? The answer could reshape how we see the entire Kelce dynasty.